Using the process overlap feature, which is accessible through the edit menu, we have 4 ways that we can use one shape to intersect another. We have weld, we have divide, remove overlapped, and subtract. I've set up a group of shapes here to highlight each of those different functions and what they will do. What we do need to do, however, is see which object is on top of the other in order to guarantee a set result. So I will use the Properties dialog box to assign a fill color to each of the shapes. This doesn't make a difference to the output, the cutting file, or anything else. This is just a way for us to identify the shapes on screen. Now, I mentioned identifying which shapes sit on top of each other, and we can see in these first 2 examples that the circle sits on top of the square. This is because I added the circle after I added the square. We can move shapes up and down in that stack by selecting them and then using the order options in the edit menu. So we can bring them to the front, or we can send them all the way to the back. Useful if you've got a stack of 3 or more objects. Or we can bring them forward just 1 layer, or send them back just 1 layer. In this instance, I need this shape to be behind the square, so I will leave it as it is for now, but that's how you would reorganize the layer stack for your shapes in order to use the process overlap functions. It might be worth you making a note on the Udemy player in order to highlight this particular function, as I won't be covering it individually. Okay, let's get back to process overlap. To intersect one shape with another, we need to have both shapes selected. What I would then do is go to the edit menu and choose the option from the process overlap selection. So in this first example, I'm going to choose weld. What that will do is fuse the outline of one object to another to create a brand new shape. So as we can see here, we now have this strange square circle combination. This is useful if you're, for example, welding a border to the edge of a card, or need to create a brand new shape in order to create your design. Divide is the next option along, so I will select both shapes, go to the edit menu and choose divide. And what this does is it acts like a paper punch, and it keeps all of the elements that's been created. So what we have now is the part where the circle has punched through the square, the part where the square has punched through the circle, and the bit that was in between. This could be useful for creating things like jigsaws. Now let's move on to remove overlapped, and I've created 2 versions of this, and there's a specific reason. So if I select both shapes, go to the edit menu and choose remove overlapped, initially it looks like nothing has happened. However, if I select this part and move it off a little bit, we can see that we have the circle as its original form, but we now have the square with the part where the circle overlapped the square being punched out and deleted. For the second version of removed overlap, I will show you this process, but with the circle at the back of the stack. This time, because the square was on top, it has punched through the circle. So we have the square in its original form, but the circle with the part where the square overlapped, cut out and deleted. Subtract works in a similar way, but what it does is it deletes the original shape that was used to punch through the other shape. So in this instance, the circle was on top, it punched through the square, and then we deleted it. For the second version of subtract, because the circle is at the back, the square will be used as the punch, and it will be deleted after the operation is complete. So those are the 4 functions of process overlap. How you use them in the project that you're creating will be up to you, but that's the method in which you would perform them.